Hello from the Y. My name is Jillian, and today we're going to be learning about downward facing dog, also called Adho, Muka, Svanasana. A very long name, but for the most part you're just going to hear it called downward facing dog or downward dog. So we're going to start by creating a foundation for our pose here. We're going to start on all fours in a tabletop position. So just coming onto hands and knees. And we're going to walk our hands forward about 5 or 6 inches from that starting point. Spreading the fingers nice and wide, and then press down into your hands and into the palm of your hand. Good. We'll tuck our toes under, and then from here we're going to start to lift our hips up toward the ceiling. So keep your knees bent as you lift your hips up, and then once you get your hips all the way up, you can start to straighten the legs a little bit. So this is downward facing dog, but we're not done yet. We kind of have to figure out exactly how our body needs to work in this pose. So we're going to start with our hands. So bringing your attention down to your hands, spread the fingers nice and wide, press down into the heels of your hand, and kind of take that weight into the thumb side of the hand. It kind of relieves a little bit of the pressure on the wrist. Taking your attention now to the eyes of the elbows, the inner part of the elbow. Try and create a line from the inner part of your elbow to the opposite thumb. So we're kind of twisting our arms inward so that we can line up the eye of the elbow and the opposite thumb. Press yourself back. Pull your shoulder blades down your back. And then begin to start elongating your spine. So starting with your neck, make your neck really nice and long. And then press up with your tailbone. So create a nice long spine. Open the chest nice and wide. Bring some activation into the core by pulling your navel in toward your spine. Relax the hips a little bit as you push your tailbone up toward the sky. And then bringing our attention down to our legs. So we have some choices here in how we want to create our downward facing dog. So you have options in this pose and how you want to move your body. So it doesn't have to always look exactly like the way that I do it. You have to kind of listen to your body and figure out what works for you. So coming back up into our downward facing dog and beginning to start focusing on the legs, you can bring some softness into the knees. Bend the knees just a little bit if you want to. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. Your legs don't have to be straight. Your heels do not have to touch the floor. Listen to what your body is telling you. Pressing our hips back toward our heels. Trying to create our body, or create a triangle shape with our body and the floor. Pressing down into the balls of your feet, spreading your toes nice and wide, creating this really good foundation in your hands and your feet to keep you upright. Good. We're just going to be here one last breath. Good. And then you can bring your knees on down to the floor and press yourself back to either sit or coming back into that tabletop. So if at any time when you're in a downward facing dog, you feel like you need to take a rest, you can always come on down to your knees and come back to that tabletop position or even into a child's pose to take a little rest and get yourself ready to come back into your downward facing dog. So I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial on downward facing dog, Adho, Muka, Svanasana. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.